Alrighty, everybody, welcome into No Such Time to Maine, and today we're reading through Matthew chapters 12 through 14. So let's get into it, and yeah. So, Matthew chapter 12. Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on a Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." He answered, "Haven't you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate at ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priest. Or haven't you read in the law that the priest on the Sabbath duty in a temple desecrate the Sabbath and yet are innocent? I tell you that something greater than a temple is here. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would have not condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. Going on from that place, he went into their synagogues, and a man with shriveled hands was there. Looking for a reason to bring charges against Jesus, they asked him, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "If any of you has a sheep, and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, you will not take hold of it and lift it out. How much more valuable is a person than sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, and just sound as the others. But the Pharisee went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. So they were plotting against Jesus for and everything, trying to get him in trouble. I know this experience myself, because for some reason people have it in their heads that like you're Christian, so you have to have done something bad that you're seeking forgiveness from God. The reality of the truth is we should all be seeking forgiveness from God. We shouldn't be after somebody because they're walking with Christ or something like that. We all make mistakes. Some of us love really, really hiding our mistakes, and we love hiding them to the point where we'll throw them back on somebody else. And in the in Matthew earlier on it says, "Do not judge if you don't want to be judged." So God chosen, God's chosen servant. Aware of this, Jesus withdrew from that place. A large crowd followed him, and he healed all who were ill. He warned them not to tell others about him. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. "Here's my servant whom I've chosen, the one I love, in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not quarrel or cry out. One will hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out, till he has brought justice through to victory. In his name the nations will put their hope." Uh, so it's basically saying Jesus will lead you to victory, follow Jesus, and stuff like that, like we always say. Okay, Jesus and Beelzebul. Then they brought him a demon-possessed man, who was blind and mute, and Jesus healed him, so he could both talk and see. All the people were astonished, and said, "Could this be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, "It is only by Beelzebul, the prince of demons, that this fellow drives out demons. Jesus knew their thoughts, and said to them, Every kingdom divided against itself will be buried, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. Then how can his kingdom stand? And if I drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom your people drive them out, so then they will be your judges. But if it is by the Spirit of God that I drive out demons, then the demon king of God has come upon you. Or again, if you can, or again, how can anyone enter a strong man's house and carry off his possessions unless he first ties up the strong man? Then he can plunder his house. However, whoever is not with me against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. And so tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or ages to come. Make a tree good, and its fruit will be good. Make a tree bad, and its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. A good man brings good things out of the good, uh, and store up in him, and an evil brings things out of evil, the evil stored up in him. But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they spoke. For by your words will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. So, always remember, this goes back to the life and death spoken on the tip of the tongue for those who love it, eat its fruit. Always remember, he said it here. If you're going to be that good tree, be that good tree. Don't lie to be that good tree. Don't lie to people to be that good tree. If you make a mistake, accept your mistake. Stop, and then try to come back to try to fix that. But don't, like he said, a good tree will produce good fruit. A bad tree will produce bad fruit. How is a bad tree gonna produce good fruit? How is a good tree gonna produce bad fruit? Just think about that kind of stuff. If you're there, and you're the bad guy, okay? You're being the jerk and everything to everybody. You're the bad tree. You're not gonna produce good fruit for anybody. You're gonna make everybody believe that you're in the right, even though you're the jerk of every situation. The point this whole thing makes is that stop trying to be the complete opposite of what you actually are. You're not going to produce good fruit no matter what. You're going to keep producing bad fruit. So think about that. The sign of Jonah. Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, Teacher, we want to see a sign from you. He answered, A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with his generation and condemn it, for they repent a preaching of Jonah, and now something greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the end of the earth to listen to Solomon wisdom. And now something greater than Solomon is here. When an impure spirit comes out of the person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and take it with 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, and they go and live there. And the final condition of that spirit is worse than the first. This is how it will be with the wicked generations. So, you know, he's basically saying that the pure spirit comes out, it goes through arid seeking. So, alright, we're gonna go ahead and the next one. I'm a little bit confused by that, but I'll figure it out. So, Jesus' mother and brother. While Jesus was still talking to the crowd, his mother and brothers stood outside, wanting to speak to him. Someone told him your mother and brother are standing outside, wanting to speak to you. He replied, Who is my mother? Who are my brothers? Pointing to his disciples. He said, Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. So Jesus Christ was like downright serious about this. Like he's like, those aren't my mother and my brothers. You're my mother and my brothers because you follow in the name of the Lord. So, all right, all right. The parable of the sower, chapter 13. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such a large crowd gathered around him, and he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, A farmer went out to sow his seeds. As he was scattering the seeds, some fell along the path, and a bird came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plant was scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked plants. Still other seeds fell on good soil, where it produces a crop, 163 times 60 or 30 what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The disciples came to him and asked, Why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, Because the knowledge of the secret of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has been given more, they will have in abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfillment prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be seeing, but never perceiving. For the people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears. They have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes, because they see, your ears, because they hear. For truly, I tell you, many prophets are righteous people and righteous people longed to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and to not hear. Listen then to what the parable of the sword means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on a rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word at once, receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble, prosecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but worries of this life and deceitfulness, or of wealth, choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is one of the produces. This is the one who produces crops yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown. Parable of the weeds. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sows good seeds in his field. But while everyone is sleeping, his enemy came and sowed the weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weed come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servant asked, "Do you want us to go and pull them?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both together until harvest. At that time I will tell harvest, first collect the weed and tie them in bundle to be burnt. Then gather the wheat and bring it into the barn." All right. So I'm actually going to go to the end of 13 because this is a long one. All right. The parable of the mustard seed and yeast. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is small, it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest garden plants, and becomes a tree, so that the birds come and perch in its branches. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed about 60 pounds of flour. It worked through the dough. Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. So was fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet. "I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world." All right. The parable of weeds explained. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvest are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out his kingdom. Everything that causes sin, and all who do evil, they will know them, throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun, the kingdom of their Father. Whoever ha- whoever has ears, let them hear. Parable of the hidden treasure and pearl. Kingdom of heaven is like the treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then his joy and went and sold all he had brought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one great value, he went away and sold everything and brought it. All right, so two more parts. Parable of the net. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net, and was let down into the lake, and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up on the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in the basket, and threw the bad. This is how it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous, and throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be a weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all these things? Jesus asked. Yes, they replied. He said to them, therefore every teacher of the law who has become a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of the house who brings out his storeroom new treasures as well as old. A prophet without honor. When Jesus had finished these parables, he moved on from there. Coming to his hometown, he began teaching the people in their synagogues, and they were amazed. Where did this man get this wisdom and the miraculous powers? They asked. Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother named Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all these things? And he took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor in his own town and his own home. And he did not do many miracles there because of the lack of their faith. All right, so Jesus spoke a lot in parables, and what parables are, they're kind of spoken like poetry. Like you'll see that a lot in, I guess anime is one of those things that's like a lot of it's spoken poetry. It's kind of, it's kind of interesting when you look at it. There, you can break it down and read it. That's what I find interesting about this whole thing. Like, majority of the Bible is written in parables, and that's something that's something that a lot of people, that's why a lot of people have trouble reading through this, actually, because they don't understand the meaning behind the parables and everything. So, looking at everything here. All right. But yeah, he taught a lot of people a lot of incredible things. Some people, you know, right now Jesus has a lot of people around him, but apparently Jesus's crowd grew smaller and smaller as time, because, you know, I see it in my life where I'll be teaching something from the Bible to somebody, and some people just don't want to accept it because they don't fully understand it, or they didn't read to that part. And so when I'm teaching the Bible, it's just bizarre for me to do it because I'm teaching it in a way of what I see here and how I broke it down and when I'm reading it. Because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that whole thing about, you know, judging people. People are judging people all the time. In fact, I got judged this morning by somebody that I keep getting judged by this one person who don't understand that, you're judging me, but you're throwing judgment at me. But you're listening to everybody make these judgments about me. And then, when you get judged, you get on the defensive. So don't judge if you don't want to be judged. Don't be a hypocrite. Is pretty much what that's saying. On top of it, treat others how you want to be treated. If you don't want to judge somebody, don't. If you don't want to be judged, don't go around judging somebody because it's the same exact example. Anyway, what you read in the Bible, please learn from it. Don't go around disrespecting the heck out of everybody because you're sitting there reading it, and then you're only letting a little bit of it sink into you because some people they read it and they don't even really understand what they're reading. So I'm going around correcting people because there is a certain way these things go about that a lot of people don't understand. So anyway, if you like what you saw here today, hit the like button. I apologize, my camera keeps freezing in time to time. But yeah, have a great day and God bless you.